Hi, thank you so much for checking out this video. Today I wanted to talk about the best advice that I got while I was pregnant. My daughter just turned 3 weeks old yesterday, so I've kind of had a little bit of time to discover what advice really I ended up being really appreciative for, and some things I needed to take with a grain of salt that didn't really make a difference or didn't really matter to me. So that's what this video is going to be about. One piece of advice that I was really grateful for and really glad to know in the hospital was to bring a button-up nightgown. So I brought one that buttoned up from top to bottom, and I have it here. It's just this kind of cute nightgown, but it does button up all the way from the top to the bottom. So while I was breastfeeding in the hospital, I was super grateful to have this, because if I needed to feed the baby, I just unbuttoned a little bit. I didn't have to completely undress. I didn't have to lift anything over my head. And then I just had a nursing bra on underneath that unlatched, and it was super easy. I also heard that if you are going to have a C-section, that the button-up shirt is really helpful because you're not lifting anything over your head, which I heard can kind of hurt your tummy. Or if you have to have an emergency C-section, you're probably going to be grateful that you have this as well. One piece of advice that I got very early on in my pregnancy was to use Aqua For. So I started using Aqua For probably about 7 or 8 weeks of my pregnancy, and I am still using it now just because I'm shrinking down in size, so I don't want to become too small too rapidly, so I'm still using the Aqua For to kind of make my skin stretchy. And I just use this all over my belly, all over my breasts. I put it on my hips a little bit when I started noticing I was getting some stretch marks on my hips. So that's one product that I was really thankful to have that tip for. So this is a piece of advice that my sister gave me, was to have mittens for your baby. So I was actually super duper grateful to know this, because when my baby was born, she had super duper long nails. Like, they were really, really long. So she would go like this and scratch her face. Obviously, many babies do that. But it can be really scary to clip their nails for the first time. So I was really grateful to know about mittens, so that I bought some in advance, and we ended up bringing some to the hospital. She pretty much wore them the whole time. She's still pretty much wearing them now. I've cut her nails once, and it was really scary. So I was really appreciative of that advice, is to have mittens. You don't know how long your baby's nails are going to be. Odds are they're going to be long enough to scratch his or her face, so I do recommend the mittens. So this piece of advice, I wish I had followed a little bit more hardcore, was to hydrate. So hydrating can not only help you prevent really painful Braxton Hicks contractions, but it also helps with your milk supply. Your breast milk is mostly made out of water, so it's really important that you hydrate. When I was discharged from the hospital, they said to drink about 68 ounces of water a day or more, if you can, or if you feel like you need to. So I would actually start about 6 weeks from your due date, start practicing drinking that much water, which I know sounds really silly, but it's very hard to drink that much water for me in a day. So I'm a pretty active water drinker, but I am not that hardcore about it. So I really would recommend, before your due date, just start practicing drinking lots of water. I think you'll find it very helpful. Yeah, hydrate like way more than you think you need to. Like, you're like, oh, I'm drinking so much water. Drink more water. Have you ever heard Mick Jenkins? Drink more water, or you might die. Another piece of advice that I kind of subconsciously had all throughout my labor is that you can't control labor, and to try and just be as relaxed as possible, and that'll be the best thing for everybody, is if you can just stay as relaxed as possible. So for example, I kind of wanted to have as little interventions as possible. Right away when I got admitted, they gave me, I think it's called Cytotec, to kind of help my labor progress. So I was already kind of like, oh, well, that's not exactly, what I envisioned, something that I wanted. I also wasn't sure if I wanted an IV. Super glad that I got one, by the way, but that was also something that happened rather quickly, that I felt like, all right, that's just the way that this is going, and that's okay. So just reminding yourself that you can't control everything about your labor, and to remain as relaxed as possible in a relatively stressful situation was really helpful. One piece of advice that I really needed to hear, and I'm super glad that I did, is to tell your friends and family about your birth plan and make sure that they know ahead of time who you want in the delivery room while you're giving birth and while you're going through active labor. So my family already knew that for me, I just wanted my partner Nicholas and I to be alone together during the delivery and through most of my active labor. So them knowing that ahead of time meant that I didn't have to hurt anybody's feelings while I was in labor, and I didn't have to kick anybody out of my delivery room, which was really nice because I have a very guilty conscience and I don't like to hurt people's feelings. So I was really nervous about saying, hey, I just want it to be me and Nicholas, but hearing that advice from another mom about saying, no, that's totally okay, you know, whoever you want to be in the room, you need to speak up for yourself and say that, was really awesome. So that I was thankful for as well. So one piece of advice that I got but I did not follow, regrettably, was to make ice packs ahead of time before you go to the hospital so that they're just ready to go. So I know there's a lot of different recipes on Pinterest and stuff for different types of ice packs. I found that just a regular ice pack worked really well for me, so I'll show you guys how I made those. But I wish I had made them before I went into labor, so that I wasn't making them every time at home. If you or your friends or family can make frozen foods for you or start a meal train, that is super helpful. It's really hard to cook while you're, you know, taking care of this new little bundle of joy that just came into your life. Even something simple like spaghetti or like a hamburger helper type thing is difficult. You're probably not going to want to go grocery shopping, you're probably not going to want to cook, you're probably not going to want to really do much of anything except for eat food that people bring you or that you have already pre-made. So I would recommend doing a meal train or having frozen meals just ready to go. The last piece of advice that I found super helpful, that I'm still finding really helpful, is to utilize online resources and resources that the hospital gives you if you are unsure about something. So for example, if you want to learn more about breastfeeding, I would go ahead and Google or YouTube, you know, how to breastfeed, different breastfeeding positions. You know, my kid isn't latching on right, what should I do? There are so many moms and dads out there that have already given all of this information to us, so I would really utilize that and not be afraid to Google like every single question you have. So that's all that I have for today. I hope that someone out there finds this video helpful. If you want to continue following me on my journey with my daughter and various other exciting parts of my life, if you want to go ahead and subscribe, I'll be doing more vlogs. Alright, that's all the advice that I found super duper helpful that I can remember. So thank you so much again for watching this video, and if you wanted to like, comment, or subscribe, I would appreciate it. And that's all for now, and we'll see you soon.